Zero wasn't his real name, obviously. It was a handle, a shield in the digital world. By day he was just another face in the crowd, a tech support drone at a soulless corporation. He answered calls, fixed printers, the usual grind. But the humdrum couldn't touch his mind. His mind was a playground, a vast digital landscape where he was king. Code was his language, networks his jungle gyms. He could slip through digital cracks, bypass firewalls, all while sipping his lukewarm coffee. It was too easy. The corporate world bored him. He craved a challenge, a puzzle worthy of his skills. He just didn't know where to find it. Then one night everything changed. He stumbled upon it, a hidden link, buried deep within the internet's underbelly. It whispered of a place called the Forum, a haven for the truly gifted, the digital elite. Intrigued, Zero clicked. The screen flickered, the familiar world dissolving into a dark void. A shiver ran down his spine. This was it. This was the challenge he craved. The forum wasn't much to look at. Stark interface, black background, white text. It felt cold, sterile, dangerous. A digital graveyard of encrypted messages and whispers of impossible feats. Zero felt a knot of apprehension in his stomach. This wasn't some online game, this was the real deal. He spent days lurking, observing. The forum's inhabitants were a motley crew. Hacktivists, black hats, cyberpunks, all drawn to the anonymity and the allure of the forbidden. They spoke in riddles, communicated in code, traded secrets like precious gems. Zero felt a thrill course through him. This was his tribe. But entry wasn't easy. The forum demanded a price, an initiation, a test of skill. Only the best, the most cunning, were granted access. Zero's fingers hovered over the keyboard, a sense of anticipation building within him. This was his chance to prove himself, to escape the mundane. He took a deep breath and accepted the challenge. The screen went blank, replaced by a single line of text. Prove your worth. The challenge appeared on his screen. A near-impenetrable system, layered with security protocols he'd only read about in hushed whispers. Zero's heart pounded in his chest. This was it, his moment of truth. He dove in. Hours melted away. Lines of code blurred before his eyes. He fought through layers of encryption, danced around intrusion detection systems, a digital phantom in a labyrinth of data. Frustration gnawed at him, but he pushed on. Failure wasn't an option. Not this time. Then, a breakthrough. He found a vulnerability, a tiny crack in the fortress. His fingers flew across the keyboard, exploiting the flaw, widening the breach. He could feel the system resisting, fighting back with every line of code. But Zero was relentless. Finally, with a surge of adrenaline, he broke through. He had infiltrated the system, planted his digital flag at its core. A wave of exhilaration washed over him. He had conquered the challenge, proven his worth. The forum awaited. The forum opened its arms to him. He was in, a full-fledged member of this exclusive digital brotherhood. He chose his new alias, Cypher. It felt right, a reflection of his newfound purpose. Cypher, the enigma, the unseen hand. The tasks started small data retrieval, system breaches, nothing too serious. But they escalated quickly. He was assigned to a crew, a small team of skilled hackers with their own specialties. They were ghosts, shadows moving in the digital night. Cypher thrived in this environment. He honed his skills, learning from the best, pushing his abilities to the limit. He was no longer just a tech support drone. He was a weapon, a force to be reckoned with. He had found his purpose, his calling. But a part of him, a small, nagging voice, whispered warnings. He was in too deep, entangled in a web of secrecy and illegality. He pushed the thought away. He had come too far to turn back now. Section 5. The Price of Power. With each successful mission, the stakes rose. They were no longer dealing with petty theft or corporate espionage. The targets became governments, banks, powerful organizations. The lines blurred. He was no longer sure who he was fighting for or why. The moral ambiguity gnawed at him. He saw the consequences of his actions firsthand. Lives disrupted, businesses ruined, chaos sown in the wake of their digital assaults. He tried to justify it, telling himself it was just data, ones and zeros. But deep down he knew it was more than that. He saw the darkness within the forum, within himself. The thrill of the hack, the rush of power, it was intoxicating. He was losing himself in the shadows, becoming the very thing he swore he wouldn't. One mission changed everything. They were tasked with stealing sensitive information from a humanitarian aid organization. It felt wrong, targeting those who helped others. When he voiced his concerns, he was met with silence, then icy stares. He realized then that the forum had no conscience, no morals. They were driven by greed, by power, by a twisted sense of anarchy. He had to get out, but escape wouldn't be easy. He had seen too much, knew too much. They wouldn't let him walk away. Cypher started planning his exit, covering his tracks, erasing his digital footprint. He knew it wouldn't be enough. He needed leverage, something to ensure his safety. He needed to find their weakness, their Achilles heel. The search led him deeper into the forum's inner workings, uncovering a hidden server, a digital vault containing their darkest secrets, identities, operations, everything. It was a dangerous game, but he had no choice. The forum discovered his betrayal. They knew he was looking, knew he was planning to leave. He became a target, hunted by his former comrades. They sent their best after him, the most ruthless, the most skilled. A deadly game of cat and mouse ensued, played out across the digital landscape. He used all his skills, all his cunning, to stay one step ahead. But they were relentless, closing in on him with each passing day. He knew he couldn't outrun them forever. He had to make a stand. Using the information he had gathered, he crafted a trap, a digital minefield designed to expose the forum, to bring their entire operation crashing down. He released the data, sending it cascading across the internet to news outlets, law enforcement agencies, everyone. The forum's secrets, their crimes exposed for the world to see. It was a declaration of war, a suicide mission. Retaliation was swift and brutal. They unleashed everything they had on him, a digital firestorm aimed at erasing him from existence. He fought back, but he was outnumbered, outgunned. His defenses crumbled, his systems crashing one by one. He felt a sense of despair wash over him. He had failed. The forum would survive. Their grip on the digital underworld tightening. He had sacrificed everything, and for what? As the digital darkness closed in, he saw a flicker on the screen. A message, appearing as if from thin air. "You did well, Cypher." It was from an unknown sender, a ghost in the machine. His trap had worked, someone had heard his call. The forum was dismantled, their servers seized, their leaders apprehended. The news called it the biggest cybercrime bust in history. But the true mastermind, the one they called Cypher, vanished without a trace. Some whispered he was a myth, a digital boogeyman. Others believed he was a hero, a vigilante who brought down a digital empire. The truth, as always, remained elusive, shrouded in the shadows of the digital world. But in the hushed corners of the internet, his legend lived on. A symbol of rebellion, a reminder that even in the darkest corners of the web, one person could make a difference. He was Cypher, the ghost in the machine, and his fight was far from over.